What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a little bit of news around the NBA that could actually benefit the Chicago Bulls. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it refers to a center in the NBA playing for the Utah Jazz at the moment, and his name is Walker Kessler. Now, the expected news could be a surprise for some, but could be an opportunity for others. And I feel like the Bulls need to try and attack this full steam ahead, as this could be our potential starting center for many years to come. With that being said, what is the news? Let's talk about it. Is it realistic to get Walker Kessler? All this and more in the video. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know what you guys think about the potential of the Bulls pursuing Walker Kessler in free agency next season, because the reported news is that Walker Kessler and the Utah Jazz could not come to an agreement in relation to their upcoming season, or the upcoming contract extension, I should say, for the upcoming seasons. And next season's free agency, Walker Kessler will enter restricted free agency. So there's a lot that comes with that, ladies and gentlemen. Ultimately, the key word we all need to really dig our teeth into is restricted free agency. Now, you guys know, just like the Bulls know, just like everybody else knows, we've had a very important restricted free agency this season with Josh Giddey, with Walker Kessler. The power is with the Utah Jazz. So as much as it is a big positive that they haven't come to an agreement, there is no long-term extension and everything of the sort, and it does mean there's an opportunity for the Bulls to walk right in there and take the center that we need. It's all within the Utah Jazz's power at the moment. They do have cap space. Yes, they do have Larry Markkinen on a massive contract, but they have cap space. They can extend Walker Kessler for pretty much any amount of price that we could throw at them. So it really just comes down to what the Chicago Bulls are interested in doing, what the Utah Jazz are interested in doing, and the power is in their hands. We can throw a too good to refuse offer, and that could end up working in our favor as we get the center that we want. Or the Utah Jazz will match anything that comes their way, and that will bring very much big disappointment, because many Bulls fans are a big fan of Walker Kessler for a variety of reasons. One, the big thing, Bulls fans love to talk about this. Every waking minute, there is at least one Bulls fan talking about this, and it is rim protection. The Bulls have no rim protection. You look at the Chicago Bulls lineup, and it's relatively balanced. We've got guards that could provide offense. We've got forwards that could provide defense, and we've got Vucevic, who is not a rim protector, and neither are Zach Collins or Jalen Smith. They're relatively good offensive players. Vucevic, tremendous offensive player. Jalen Smith can knock down the three, can also dominate in the paint. Zach Collins has proven to be a tremendous player off the bench, but they're not rim protectors. And Bulls fans they'll hunt you down if you say you don't need it. They'll come for you. So it's very clear that Bulls fans value rim protection, and Walker Kessler is one of the better rim protectors in the league today. I think only at the age of 23, I could be wrong there. He's only going to expect to get better, and he's going to be one of the more prominent rim protectors in the league for many years to come. He's also going to be a big threat in the paint. He's going to be a guy that could dunk the ball and be very athletic, could be a lob threat every now and then. So, again, he's a good player. Very good player for the Jazz, and he could be the exact center we need. And I do think it makes sense to go after him in a season's time. I think that makes tremendous sense for the Chicago Bulls, because Vucevic will be an expiring player. By the time next season comes around, Vucevic will most likely join a different team in the NBA, and the Bulls will need another starting caliber center. And what makes so much sense with Walker Kessler, he fits the exact timeline we are currently in. So you could have a very good starting five, which balances a little bit of everything out, because, you know, a guy like Walker Kessler will thrive with playmakers like Josh Giddey in the team, but his rim protection is going to elevate us to a much better defensive standing. And it's going to be a young starting five as well. It's going to be a starting five. It reminds me a little bit of Detroit. Even the Orlando Magic. I mean, I think Detroit is a better example. Their starting five is so good, but it's also so young. So what's the beautiful thing about Detroit's starting five is that it's only going to get better with age, with more experience, with more winning culture. And the Bulls could put themselves in that situation where they've got a very good young starting five that can only grow and get better together. That's what I like about Walker Kessler and what he could bring to the Chicago Bulls. But ultimately, will the Utah Jazz actually let go of Walker Kessler? Look, I don't know what the news is suggesting from the Utah Jazz side of things. From what I've heard, I think it is a likely outcome that Walker Kessler is not a Utah Jazz player next season. I genuinely believe that could be an outcome. I've not necessarily heard that they're absolutely desperate to keep him. I've not heard that they're absolutely in love with his play. In fact, there were moments last season or a few seasons ago where he was coming off the bench for Utah. For the Bulls, I think he would walk right into our starting five, because that's exactly who we need in our starting five, that rim-protecting athletic center. So it could be a situation where, you know, if he continues not to start, and maybe every now and then it's just kind of a start bench sort of situation. Yeah, maybe that just shows that Utah don't exactly value Walker Kessler as much as maybe the Bulls can. But once again, restricted free agency means it's in the Utah Jazz's hands. So just because I think Utah don't personally value Walker Kessler that much, doesn't mean they believe that. They could very much have all intents and purposes to keep Walker Kessler no matter the cost. And if that's the case, there's little to no chance the Bulls can compete with that. So here's what I think we should be doing. Again, I'm all down for experiments. Let's just say the Bulls are having a really good season. I would say do nothing and wait for restricted free agency. But if the Bulls are kind of in that play-in tournament misery, I would try to lure the Utah Jazz into making a trade, because maybe Utah know they're not going to keep Walker Kessler. Try and tease a little bit. Maybe give them a Vucevic who's got an expiring deal, and maybe throw in some incentives like a pick or even a Patrick Williams or something along those lines, or multiple picks, just to see what sort of offer they're willing to accept. Because again, if we end up getting Walker Kessler via a trade, then restricted free agency is in our hands. And I'd much rather have it in our hands than Utah's. So definitely something to consider. You know, maybe knock on the door a little bit. See what Utah are willing to accept. You know, there could be a situation where a sign and trade happens in free agency next season. But maybe you get him early. Maybe you be the aggressors in the trade. Maybe you push for it. Maybe you don't necessarily give everything for Walker Kessler, but you give enough to the point where Utah might not be able to refuse it. These are just things I'm throwing out there, because I'd rather have it in our power than Utah's. And maybe getting it done early is going to be enough for that to happen. We shall wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. But there's no doubt in my mind, if there is a center I could name as a perfect fit for the Chicago Bulls, there are many out there. There are many great quality centers. I'd put Walker Kessler in that list. I think he could be that good for us. I'm not saying he's going to be the best center in the world, but I think he'll fit exactly what this Bulls team, and most importantly, the fans who will hunt you down for it, is looking for. So let's see. Let's hope the Bulls can be aggressors in this situation. And I'm sure we're not going to be the only team that's going to be interested. Thank you guys for watching. If you do enjoy the video, feel free to drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. Walker Kessler, an interesting topic of discussion. Restricted free agency could be very busy next season for the Bulls once again. Let's hope we're the aggressors this time. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.